Hi, thank you for joining me today for another layout using my scraps from my scraps box. And today I'm focusing on the peachy colours along with some beiges. I'm going to create an L shape on my page, and you can see it's a photo of Amelia. She's hanging onto the railings in Chester looking up at the sky. So I thought this L shape would be a really nice way to document this photo. So you saw that I grabbed I think it was the Antique Linen Distress Oxide ink, and just swiped that across the page to create that L shape. And now I'm going in with a Tim Holtz stencil, just one of his layering stencils, to add some more texture to the background. So just layering up these lovely diamond shapes, and this stencil can be layered upon itself so that you can add more shapes in between those ones, if that makes sense. You'll see me doing that shortly. I'm so sorry about the shaking of the camera. I was obviously being very aggressive when I was pushing this ink through the stencil. I must remember that it does shake the camera when I'm doing that, so try and be a little bit more gentle. But there you see, when you layer the shapes over, you can add more diamonds in between the initial stenciling. I hope that makes sense. I don't really know how to say that. So now I wanted to add a bit more texture, so I'm coming in with Distress Oxide in Black Soot and a stamp from All and Create. This is number 1070, I think, if anybody's interested. Yes, 1070, and it's the lines on that one. So I just wanted to add some black because the photo's got a lot of black in it, so just wanted to bring that as a different colour into the page. And I will bring that in a little bit with the scraps that you can see I've pulled out from the box behind as well. So just adding plenty, because I know a lot of this will be covered up by the paper strips, so I wanted to make sure that I bring a lot in. And then that is a craft card die cut that I created using one of our new dies, the Bumpy Road die. Just wanted to add that to the bottom of the page. So this piece that I'm playing with now is one of the cut aparts that was in my scraps box, and I'm going to create a tag with it. So I just trim off the edge because I don't want it to be too big, and then cut off the triangles to create the tag shape, and then add my hole punch. It doesn't stay this big. I do have to trim it down once I've added all my paper strips, but for now that's the tag shape that I'm going with. And then I wanted to use this black and white diagonal stripe as my matting piece for the photo. It doesn't quite cover all of the photo, but it does go around the top and the two sides, so that's enough for me. And then I shall add some more scraps to build up those mats behind it. So I'm going to distress each of the layers as I go. So here's the second layer at the bottom, just using one of those peachy pink pieces. Just checking that I'm happy with the size and then trimming it down. Obviously don't need to add any more than I need to, so these scraps are going to last me a good while because I can't bear to waste things. So there's no point in putting a huge chunk behind where it didn't need to be. And here's the third layer of this lovely stripy paper. So just adding another layer at the bottom there and building up that edge really nicely. And then once that's done, I can start building up the L shape around the edges of the page. So still not quite sure where to put that tag. It's because it's a bit too big, so that I'm struggling with it. So you will see it moving around a little bit. But now I'm just grabbing pieces. That first piece that I trimmed the end of is a branding strip from 49er Market. And then this piece is from a Heidi Swap range from a couple of years ago. So just trimming that down a little bit, and I'm making use of the fact that I punched a hexagon out of this previously, so keeping that fishtail banner at the end of that piece. Some black and white polka dots. I love black and white polka dots. I think this might have been a Christmas paper actually, so it's just shows that you can use any papers. They don't have to be used for Christmas. And then this lovely beige with the hearts on it. That blue piece already, I must have used a notebook punch or a notebook die on that, but it had those lovely notebook edge pieces on it, so I thought I would keep that in as well. So once again, moving that tag around the page, trying to decide where to put it, and now looking at the other papers that I've got underneath my trimmer that I pulled out before I started this video to see what else I can use. So I'm cutting a piece of this lovely blue. I just thought this blue went really nicely with the peaches that I pulled out, and Amelia's got a lovely blue hairband in that you can see in the photo. The rest of it is just her skin tone, which is like the peachy pink that I'm pulling out, and the black railings. So we were out in Chester for Ross's 41st birthday. I'd taken my DSLR camera and took some lovely photos of the kids, and then we went for a really nice meal to celebrate. So these are the photos that I'm documenting. 2012 that was. I can't believe where the time goes. So another strip added to that top area. Again, I can't remember where this one's from, but it's the right colours for this layout that I'm creating. They're all from different collections. So now I'm going to go ahead and start sticking all of this down. So I use this piece as an anchoring piece, really. You'll see it overlaps a lot of the papers on both strips. So it sort of holds everything in place while I glue everything else down. And I'm trying to be mindful not to cover too much of that background. I will come in with my stencil again because you can see I've covered an awful lot of that. But I did want some of the mixed media that I made the effort to make to show still. I'm just rubbing the ATG tape off my desk because invariably I managed to get that on the glass mat, but it rubs off very easily. So wished that I'd distressed the edges, so I'm just going in with my fingernails to distress these pieces that I'd already stuck down. Nearly there. And this is where I'm still trying to decide what to do with that tag, and that's where I see if it's shorter it's going to be much better. So I just trim that top piece off. That will go back in my scraps box because I can use it as a tag behind a photo again. It will still look like it's a full tag when it's tucked in. And then distressing these pieces, you can see how they're anchored down by those other bits that I put down. So just trying to get my edge distressor in there as much as possible and get this all roughed up. And then sticking that together. So just checking the positioning of the photo, positioning of that L shape, and then I bring this black and white dot in, and also that tag. Just making sure that the sentiment is still showing because it says always dreaming, and that's just perfect for Amelia. There we go, so adding that hole back in. Still need to stick down that border at the bottom and that black and white piece. So just distressing the edges again, and then I can layer that. I can't remember whether I put it under the photo or onto the L shape, and then I get the photo stuck down. There we go, a bit of both really, isn't it? I use the photo to check where I want to put it and then get that adhered down, just like that. So in comes that border, and I'll have to use some wet glue to get that stuck down. And just checking where I want to put this L, like I say, so that I can still see that background. And there's the photo going down. So now I can flip that over and stick that. First of all though, like I say, I wanted to add a little bit more stenciling. I felt like too much of it was covered, so I'm just moving things around, bringing it back in and out to make sure that I can see the stenciling that I add. And you must remember with Distress Oxides as well that they go down pretty dark, but as they dry they do get slightly paler. So while it might look in your face when you first do it, when you come back to it the next day it is much paler, so bear that in mind. Almost there now, just adding a few more bits. And I'm just working with the ink that's left on the dauber. I've not used the ink pad again. And then I can finally get this area of paper stuck down, this huge mat with the photo on it. So just taking my time to get that positioned, make sure that I'm happy with where it is, and then that it is straight on the page. And there we go. So now I can start embellishing. So first of all, bringing in some string. I think this was in a previous kit that I did with Jackie, the Nest Box kits. I had it left over, so I thought that would work really nice as a rustic piece of string. And then one of the wax seals from Hey Little Magpie. This is one of our exclusive ones that I designed. So just adding that down. I was a bit lazy and didn't get the 3M stickers, and I should have done, so I will go back and get one of those afterwards. Now I wanted to use this word carefree from this word paper, but I didn't want to lose that circular sentiment above it, so I'm just trimming very carefully around, and then I'm going to cut around that F, and it works really nicely on the page when it's done. Just getting my smaller detail scissors to do that. These are the Cutter Bee scissors. They're absolutely brilliant for fussy cutting things. So if you're looking for a new pair of scissors for fussy cutting, definitely look at Cutter Bees. So just cutting another one of these cameras out. You will have seen me using these on other layouts. It's become a favourite thing to do. I am actually going to sit in front of the telly and cut the rest of those cameras out so that I've got them available rather than having to do it for each individual layout. So there are those 3M stickers, which are brilliant for sticking these wax seals down. And then I'm just going through my little drawer of wood pieces to find something else to add. And I find a little curvy arrow, a small arrow, pointy arrow, and a wood camera, all from JD 3D Print, which are going to go on in that bottom left-hand corner. Just having a faff deciding where to put things. And also one of the tweed dots that we sell at Hey Little Magpie in the Bits and Pieces collection. So just getting those glued down with my Nuvo Deluxe adhesive. And then making sure that this is all trimmed straight, and then I can glue that down. That camera does get moved. I think it's going to go there, but I do change it and I move it up to the top here. So just tucking that in slightly wonky, just to follow that diagonal line from top left to bottom right. So now I'm coming in, these are some Hey Little Magpie die cut flowers. I've used our dies and just used my scraps to die cut some, and I keep them in this envelope ready to use when I want to. So I just spend 10 minutes in an evening just cutting a few when I feel like it. So just choosing which ones to use. I want to go in with the oranges, blues and a bit of yellow up here, so I do switch them about a little bit before I'm happy. I can't be bothered cutting anymore, which is why I keep them in an envelope, because sometimes die cutting can be a little bit of an effort, but if you've got a stash available then it's much easier to use them on a page. But I really like the texture that adds to that left hand side. It's just really subtle, but it's just something. So just getting those glued down again with my Nuvo and layering them up on top of each other. And I think some of these have been cut from these papers that I'm using as the background strips as well. Almost there, just this last one to add. There we go, and just tuck that down the back. So now I'm going to go through some of the older stickers that I've got on my desk. These are some Maggie Holmes, I think. And there's this lovely little butterfly, which works nicely with an outdoor photo. And then a little gold sprig there at the bottom right. A lovely bow, which is going to go at the bottom here, just to finish that cluster. And then I find this XOXOXO sticker. First of all, this one that says blue skies and sunshine, which it was, even though it was October. It was a nice day, actually, we wrapped up. And then this XOXO goes nicely down the side of the photo there. So that's those stickers. And now I want to add my title, which is going to be Look Up, because she's hanging onto those railings and looking up. So I'm using my Ellie Studio Large Jane alphabet stamp, the outline one. And I'm just going to use the Tea-Dye Distress Oxide and stamp that going down diagonally across the page. So starting with the L at the top, and it's going to be wonky, the letters. I'm sorry about the lighting. I don't know why it keeps changing every time I grab a stamp. It seems to go a bit yellow there. I don't know why it's doing that. So just adding each letter at a different angle going down that photo. So almost there. So that's the word look. And then I'm going to add up further down the page. Probably should have cut some of this out, I'm so sorry. Just watching me stamping each of the letters down. So there's the U, and then finally it will be the P. And then I'm going to splash this with some water. I haven't pre-prepared the paper at all. I just wanted to bleed those inks a little bit on the page. So I just spritz some water on and leave that to dry naturally. And then I'm coming in with dried marigold, which is a brighter orange, just to splatter around the page as well. And that's the layout pretty much done. I will add the date, use my roller date stamp at the bottom underneath that wooden arrow. And that completes it. Thank you so much for joining me. I really hope you've enjoyed this process video. Another one using up some more of those scraps that seem to be going on forever. I shall see you very soon. Bye.